goes. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. Turn this down a little bit so you can hear better. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's Tuesday, obviously. And I'm getting a little burned out already on this, the Israel, Gaza, Palestinian, whatever thing. And not because I don't care. That's certainly the farthest from it. I personally have taken my stance. My stance is the Israelis who have the longest relationship to the land that they're on and have attempted to go do a two-state solution multiple times and are up against a faction that wants all of them, not just the ones in Israel, but all of them gone, period, ended. And I understand, you know, it's funny. I had an interesting, I didn't have the exchange. I wanted to, but someone saying that Israel brought this on themselves. And anytime I hear someone saying that, you're saying that the people who had nothing to do with this Israel deserve to die, and I don't like that. I don't know if there's ever going to be a solution to this region, but unfortunately, a lot of people are going to be ended. So, but in that vein, there is other news happening in the world. It's funny because I was looking for news on Ukraine. Haven't seen it, hardly any. I'm like, whoa, what happened to that war? Nobody's talking about it. I mean, it's out there, and I'm sure some of the mainstream media may be talking about it. I just look through Twitter, though. I live, you know, a lot of it's Twitter Tuesday, you know, X, formerly known as Twitter, and not a whole lot of people talking about anything but Israel. Although I saw the term insurrection trending this morning because Jim Jordan looks like he might be making his way to be Speaker of the House, and a lot of people don't like Jim Jordan, and so they're saying he's an insurrectionist. But whatever. So anyway, we're gonna do some other news. We'll do some Israel news. I got a handful of, you know, stuff, not mostly from X though today, even though it is the app formerly known as Twitter Tuesday. But let's just get this thing started. Johnny, stop that. And please play the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
It's a joke. When I wrote that little quip, what is it, 5 years now? 5 years ago, remember? I started this show 5 years ago. When I wrote that little quip, brother making his own way with all the wrong opinions, it has never been more pronounced than this week, in that there are people on the left and on the right and the center who have wildly different opinions about what's happening in Israel. And it's okay. I mean, yesterday I had an exchange. Somebody had a different opinion than me. That's cool. I mean, I have a completely different opinion, and we're all friends, and we still enjoy the news together because we agree on 98% of things. Or even if we only agreed on 50% of things, that's fine. Or if we agree on 25% of things, that's fine. Everyone's welcome here. I don't care what your views are. I'm going to give you mine, and if you don't like them, you can tell me, you know, why, or you can tell me to, you know, F off or whatever, and we're all good. You know, it's just, this is an opinion show where my opinion is the one that gets the microphone, and occasionally you guys get the microphone, and you definitely have the chat. And so, it is what it is. Anyway, welcome to Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Night on the internet. And it is Tuesday, the 17th of October, 2023. If you have not shared the stream yet, I implore you, share the stream somewhere. Do something, man. And, you can do all that other stuff that I asked you to do. Let's say hi to everybody. For those of you who showed up at Rumble, Avocado Sally, Mike Savage, and that's it. Thanks for doing that. I'm gonna close that one right now because I had a little technical glitch, like I often do with Rumble. So that one's over. Say bye. Hitting buttons is really tough. I didn't click quite enough. There's no stream over there, so we don't care. Bye. Okay, I do care. I feel bad, but there'll be a replay on Rumble later. We'll fix it. Anyway, first to the chat over on YouTube. Mr. Avocados Diabli gets the bell. Also, Carol Soldier, you were so close. It's amazing. Oh, you got a ballot soon? That's too bad. Oh, head into a job interview. Well, that's a good thing. Good luck on your job interview. Good morning also to Trippy Liberty, my brother. What's up from the app formerly known as X. Good morning, Mike Savage. Blarg. Lord Stanhope's in the house. Also, good morning to Rod Line and Cannibalistic Wizard and Bookworm Addict. As I scroll down, I see Chicago Mike's in the house. Welcome back, sir. Unacceptable Views is here. Simon Wolfwood, hello. Good morning also, John Arnott. And I say Lord Stanhope, I think I did, but I'm going to say it again. Darren Roots in the house. Nice to see you. And that's it. That's I know some of you are slowly jumping in, and I'll see you in the chat if you say something. If you don't, I'm just glad you're here watching. I am going to start promoting this show more and more in the mornings. I meant to do something this morning. I didn't have time, but I did. I took some video this morning while I was preparing for the show. And I'm going to have a couple new promos. Oh, a bunch of new promos. So if you see me drop a promo video, they're going to be all under a minute long. Share those too. That would be very helpful. Good morning, Fake News Expert. What's up? So if you see those pop up, they're like the YouTube Shorts videos, like the one I did the other day that I'm putting on X before I start the show. I would appreciate if you'd share those also, or whatever they do, repost it wherever you see it. I'm going to be posting it on YouTube, Rumble, X, I want to say Twitter, and Instagram. And if you don't follow me in those places, I have a P-Dog Night channel on Instagram now. I have a P-Dog Night channel, obviously, on X, and obviously on YouTube. And also, I would say follow my Marty's Big Journey channel. Although I might be making some changes over there. I've had so much fun just telling jokes over there that I'm not doing what the channel's designed for. It's supposed to be for traveling stuff, but I've been telling jokes, and they're, whether you think they're funny or not, we'll figure it out. But some people like them, and some people are starting to follow me over there for the jokes. So I might have to start a new channel specifically just for the jokes, or change Marty's Big Journey's purpose and change it to something else. Who knows? But anyway, should we get in some news? Like I said earlier, the people aren't really talking about anything but Israel, at least on the app formerly known as X. I mean, there's things here and there, and obviously a couple things popped up today because of some things that happened in the news. So we're going to get into that. But the only really trending thing that I saw this morning, which was weird. Wait, who's Brody? Is that Brody? Oh, Brody McFarland. What up, Brody? How you doing? I don't know if you're here. Ravon Harris, how you doing? Welcome to the show. And I hope I said that right. Ravon or Ravon? However you say that. Is it a long A or a short A? Ravon or Ravon? It's got to be one of the two. And anyway, so let's see what's happening here. So of the things that are trending on Twitter too, there's a whole lot of nothing. The only one that I saw this morning there's a couple that were interesting, but they're not, even then, it's kind of weird. One was official Twitter. Now, this is related to the Israel, Gaza, Palestinian, Israeli, all that stuff, right? A couple people are saying that the official Twitter of the Israeli embassy in Panama is unironically trying to push an AI photo as real. So there's a whole lot of claims on X right now that some of the gruesome photos and stuff and other things that Israel's doing are fake. They're AI generated fakes. And I'm confused by that. Now, so this is one, for example. It says the official Twitter of the Israeli embassy in Panama is unironically trying to push an AI photo as real. I cannot stress enough, given that the past 3 days, how ill-prepared most of you are for the coming disinformation age. Now, they're claiming that this photo by the Israeli embassy is AI generated. Okay. Now, I don't know exactly, based on a couple anomalies in here. Apparently they tried to enhance the photo, and sometimes when you enhance photos, you get little anomalies in there. And so people are pointing out that the distortions in the photo, it says here, there's one of those context notes, community notes, and I don't know what, well, first of all, what would be the purpose of making this photo AI generated? Why? What? Anybody? Can you see a reason why they would? Because the post is, oh, here, let me do it. Sorry, it's in Spanish. Let me translate. Heading to Israel, young Israelis are leaving from Panama to enlist in the army and take care of our citizens. On behalf of the embassy of Israel, we want to thank all local organizations and individuals for all their supports during these difficult times. Now, why would Israel make this a AI generated photo? It's not unusual for people who are Israeli or Israel citizens to go back and join their army. Why would this particular photo be AI generated? Who cares? I mean, did they think that? What's their point here? Anyway, the community notes on this says many have pointed out the distortions in the photo may indicate it was AI-generated images, leading to claims that Israel is releasing fake war propaganda. Well, what propaganda would this be? However, this appears to be a filter effect on a real photo, as other angles from the airport gathering have emerged, and they have other pictures from the gathering. Let's see. Here's some other pictures from the people that were there. And why this photo? See, they got a bunch of images of them there and that taking the photo. So who would actually, would be the point of faking this photo? It's amazing. And anyway, so the propaganda, obviously it's a propaganda war as much as it is a conflict there. That's just weird. There were other official, let's see, what, also people are claiming that a photo, that Ben Shapiro used, I'm not going to put it on the screen. The image that Ben Shapiro tried to pass off as a burnt baby corpse was an AI generated fake image. They're claiming, you wanted pictorial proof of dead Jewish babies. Here it is. Pathetic Jew haters. Israel minimize civilian casualties, but Israel will not allow the pieces of human shit who did this to live. Every ounce of blood spilled in Gaza is on Hamas. I personally agree with that statement. Not everybody does. And so and someone said that he was trying to pass off that corpses that was AI generated images. And the official account of the Israeli, I think this might be the account of the Israeli government. They made a joke. Someone said here, it's actually baffling that the official Twitter account for a term used loosely. Oh my God. That's just some pure hate. Is allowed to tweet like a 16-year-old, but there's no proof of the gas, because they're saying, well, there's no proof of the gas chamber either, because people say, oh, there's no proof of the gas chambers. There are little videos of Hamas terrorists executing families, and anti-Semites like you are still yelling, where's the proof? All right. So, and then shame on you. So, whoever, I anytime you are, you have a social, let's say you have a country or a place that has a social media coordinator. You got to be careful who you have as the social media coordinators because they may tweet like a 16-year-old. Who knows? But I don't know. That's the big thing going on right now. And so they're claiming that a lot of these photos are not real. Another one here, the Israeli Air Force on its Twitter account. Oh, I'll put it on the screen. The Israeli Air Force on its official Twitter account publishes footage of bombed residential areas of Gaza, the Gaza Strip, and boasts that it dropped about 6,000 bombs on Hamas targets. And look, they said where they were going to bomb, and they asked people to leave, and you know, maybe people had nowhere to go. But the targets were Hamas targets, they say, and I don't know even how you would verify whether they were Hamas targets. But again, people are claiming that Israel is going too far. And I don't know. I'm not, if I were the expert on what Hamas targets look like, I'd be able to tell you in a heartbeat. But that's it. So enough of that. Let's talk. Let's see. A lot of people pissed off that Jim Jordan might be the Speaker of the House. Let's see. The County Commission voting to deny the acts was. Oh, that's not good. I don't know if you're familiar with King Randall. He has that school in Montgomery, Alabama called the X for Boys, and they were denied a county commission voting. The county commission voted to deny them for an expansion into a community for underprivileged children. Okay, I don't know what that's about. Good morning, Tex AG007 and Simon Wolfwood. Let's move on. That's an accidental opening. Breitbart is trending this morning. Now, and this is kind of related to the Jim Jordan thing, because that seems to be the only thing that, well, not the only thing that pops up, but the thing that prominently pops up. Breitbart reports that the phone lines are melting on Capitol Hill over the speaker's race. Our voices are being heard. You are making a difference to speakers in the speaker's race. This is Benny Johnson, who basically steals news from everybody. Jaeger Pony, my favorite Canadians in the house. How do you doing? I haven't seen anything like this in years. One top House GOP aide told Breitbart News they are literally melting the phone line. Some offices' numbers are permanently busy. Thousands and thousands of people are calling the members of Congress demanding Jordan as speaker. And apparently, so there's a grassroots effort to make Jim Jordan Speaker of the House. Now, that does not make everyone happy. There's a lot of people who love to rip on Jim Jordan for things that he has tangentially been attached to in the past when he was speaker or a wrestling coach. Was that at Ohio State, I believe? And there's an abuse scandal there, and they're claiming, some people claim that Jim Jordan knew about it, and he says he doesn't. And it has, I don't know if it's ever been adjudicated for sure, at least not with his part of anyway. Also, I don't know why, rest in peace, Andrew Breitbart's there. He's been dead for several years. In France, Macron has called for a ruthless deportation of all migrants with ties to Islamic extremism from France. I'm sure this is related, but they've had their own problems in France. And so he's going to expel some people. Interesting. Another person here is mad at Joel Pollak. He's making a sarcastic quote, "I have broken the Sabbath to say Israel should wipe out Gaza." Senior editor at large at Breitbart, genocide advocacy is mainstream in Zionism. Now, that's a fascinating statement, that genocide advocacy is mainstream in Zionism. Is it now? Now, when they say genocide, usually when you say genocide, that means exterminating entire people or race, right? That's my definition. And it seems like, as much, whether you like it or not, and I don't necessarily, some of the things that Israel does, I think, are wrong. Okay, the settlements issue, is a difficult one to understand. But the idea that they're trying to genocide Palestinians is kind of silly to me. They're not. Because if they were, then they would be attacking the West Bank too. But they're not attacking the West Bank. They're attacking Gaza where the Hamas targets are. Are they trying to kill all the people in the West Bank? Are they warning the civilians that they should leave certain areas where they believe the Hamas targets are? That doesn't sound like genocide to me. But he's referring to this post by Joel Pollack. I have broken the Sabbath and Jewish holiday to deliver this message. Israel should wipe out Gaza. Allow 48 hours to evacuate women and children and the elderly. Destroy everything that remains. Plow it under and annex it to Israel. This is the end for Hamas and Palestinian terror. Now, I don't agree with that necessarily either, but, they've tried to get along. And then but Israel continues to be attacked. So, now this is interesting. What is this? Here, let me, before I put it on the screen, let me make sure I should screen it first. What is this exactly? Thomas Massey says support for Jordan is surging. Oh, this is related to Jim Jordan. I said most of this was related to Jim Jordan. Thomas Massey says support for Jordan is surging. This article contains an up-to-date list of representatives who have publicly declared their support for Jim Jordan for Speaker. Please thank these patriots. There are many more who will vote for him but haven't announced yet. Now, apparently someone thought this was funny because somebody from Ohio does not like Jim Jordan. Wow, they found a person in Ohio who will not be voting for Speaker of the House to denounce Jim Jordan. Let's see what this fellow says. I'll be gentle.
Hi, I'm Chris Gibbs. I'm an Ohio farmer, and I'll get right to the point. Agriculture, U.S. agriculture, rural America cannot, under any circumstances, let Jim Jordan become Speaker of the House.
Why? See, look, I guess this is a weird thing. Now, I don't care whether you like Jim Jordan or not. Does his becoming Speaker of the House, what does it do? I mean, maybe it helps determine what bills go up and stuff, but actually, I think the Speaker has a lot of power and can force votes and shit like that on certain things and decide what makes the floor. I don't think it's going to make any fucking difference. But anyway, let's see. Let's see what he says.
Representatives. Jordan's political career was created just 11 miles down the road from me in the mid-1990s by local businessmen who needed a representative to do their bidding.
Okay.
He's been my state rep, my state senator, and now my congressman for going on 29 years. I know I'm just a farmer and I don't know much about nothing except corn and cows, but I do know this.
What do you know?
Jim Jordan's career path must not lead to the speakership. Now's the time for ag interest and rural Americans to clear their throats and get a voice and sound the alarm that Jim Jordan cannot be trusted as Speaker.
Okay, you haven't said why yet. You haven't given a specific reason.
Stick with me now.
All right, here we go.
U.S. agriculture is national security interest that affects and impacts all Americans, regardless if you live in a rural area or in town. Food security, natural resource security, clean energy security is national security.
Clean energy security. Interesting. So they're saying this is a former GOP county chair. Okay. Let's find out what his reasons are.
Because of the dysfunction in the U.S. House, the foundation legislation that guides all of your U.S. policies on your food, your fiber, and your natural resources was left to expire. You may know that as the Farm Bill. Did you know that Jim Jordan has voted against every farm bill in his congressional career? Did you know that?
Now, that tells me zero. Do you know why did he vote against a farm bill? Let's see if he answers that. Just because someone votes against a bill, what if it's called a farm bill, but it's a shitty bill? Okay. And, pro ethanol. Maybe that's why. Maybe it had, ethanol is kind of a joke, actually. And I hate to say it, but it is. But a lot of farmers like it because they get subsidized for growing corn for ethanol. But whatever.
Jim Jordan and his Freedom Caucus held the last farm bill in 2018 hostage until it died in the House.
Again! What was in the bill? Why did they oppose it? So what? Just because it's called a farm bill doesn't make it a great bill. Remember, they also opposed the Inflation Reduction Act. And I'm fine with that. Tell me, what is it about that bill that you think has been so good?
No, that Jim Jordan voted against ensuring every rural American had access to broadband, which would have led directly to a higher standard of living for rural Americans.
How? How would broadband give you a higher standard of living? So you can order more shit from Amazon? What? I know people who barely use their internet connections. They don't. What? Now, and how did the federal government plan on providing that broadband? There may be a good reason why you would vote against a bill like that. Now, I don't know if there is or not, but the generalities this guy is stating doesn't convince me. And I don't know if I give a shit if Jim Jordan's the Speaker of the House. I mean, he's pretty good on committees. Yeah, he's pretty kind of a bulldog on committees. I don't know if he'd be a great Speaker of the House. I think he's a little bit combative for that particular position, but I don't understand. Oh, he voted against the farm bill. What if it was a shitty farm bill? Oh, he voted against the broadband thing. Oh, because the federal government was going to foot the bill for all of it. Well, I would vote against that.
No wonder former Speaker John Boehner labeled Jim Jordan a legislative terrorist.
Because John Boehner's an asshole. John Boehner sucks. Good. You know what? You're making the case for Jim Jordan right now. John Boehner was a swamp creature fucking uniparty bitch. Hi, Jimmy Das Hotep. What's up? I got a letter from Elon Musk, and his Starlink is available nationwide. Infrastructure build are always loaded with crap. Yes, that's why I would vote against that shit. Hello, Chris Kroll, too. And those ain't real dude, too. And JB, too. How y'all doing? An infamous one. Infamous one. Even though that 3 always messes me up, but I know it's an E. Yeah, what if I vote against the crappy bills? Good for you, Jim. You're making a case for Jim Jordan, sir.
The House, no way. Don't reward Jim Jordan. Call your GOP representative and make sure Jim Jordan's career is stopped dead in its tracks today.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Whatever. You didn't give me... I'd be celebrating if he voted against some shitty bills. Was that on the screen, by the way? I don't even know. Good Lord. I'll put that in the links. Or it's already in the links. Here, copy, click, right, paste. There you go. Yeah. So anyway, what else is going on in the world here? Gag order. Oh, this one. Now let's talk about this gag order. Now we got some articles we'll go through on this one because the judge in the Donald Trump case in Washington, D.C., Judge Chutkan, has put a gag order on the former president of the United States, the leading candidate for the Republican nomination for president of the United States. And first of all, I'll just show you some reactions to this. Then I'll tell you a little more details. This is Vernon Jones. He's a major Trump supporting brother from Georgia, and he's run for Congress a couple times, got absolutely shellacked because he has no pull in that district because it's a very Democrat district. Hello, Resolute Germ. It's a damn shame. Special Prosecutor Jack Smith, bitching about Trump and telling the truth about him, goes and complains to the judge and gets a gag order on Trump. Since Trump can't talk about that low down dirty Jack Smith, let's all of us do it. Jack Smith is a dirty, low down, abusive and lying crooked prosecutor. Okay. There's no gag order on Vernon Jones. Julie Kelly at the courthouse, and Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is here to observe gag order hearing. Court personnel told her to stand in public line. No privilege for members of Congress. I'm sure this would apply to, say, Nancy Pelosi? No. You know that wouldn't be it. What is she wearing? Good Lord, woman. Anyway, Ed Krasenstein. Oh, it's Daily Krasenstein. I haven't done a Daily Krasenstein in a while. Let's see what he says. Federal Judge Tanya Chutkan has just issued a gag order on former President Donald Trump. Do you agree with the order? She said, this is not about whether I like the language Mr. Trump uses. This is about language that presents a danger to the administration. Oh my gosh, to the administration of justice. Really? So Jack Smith can leak whatever he wants, but the guy who's being prosecuted can't talk about it? His presidential candidacy does not give him carte blanche to vilify public servants who are simply doing their jobs. Mr. Trump is a criminal defendant. He is facing 4 felony charges. He is under supervision of the criminal justice system, and he must follow his conditions of release. When you start using a word like thug to describe a prosecutor doing their job, that wouldn't be allowed in any other criminal defendant. Just because the defendant is running a political campaign does not allow him to do whatever he wants. Well, does she have a point? Does she have a point for Trump always calling Jack Smith a thug? I don't know. You know, I mean, believe me, the First Amendment was written for things that people said that were definitely a lot worse than calling someone a thug. Hodge twins, Jamaica Board judge out of Washington, D.C. Here, I'll put it on the screen here. These are all going to be everything will be in the links, sort of. It's on the thread. Jamaica Board judge out of Washington, D.C. just put a gag order on President Trump on his January 6th case. These people are straight up tyrants! Tyrants! The Supreme Court needs to get involved and fix as soon as possible. Let's see. Julie Kelly, Judge Tanya Chutkan, an Obama appointee, just opposed a gag order on Donald Trump. He will not be allowed to comment about special counsel Jack Smith or his staff, court staff. Not sure if that means her. And potential witnesses in this case. Well, look, here's the thing. She doesn't have a point. This is political scapegoating. Hello, Septus Wolf. I would go on a date with her, but I don't want my identity stolen. I don't know what that means. First Amendment violation. This guy lost his chairmanship. Oh, because of Jordan. Vivek Ramaswamy. The so-called limited gag order on Trump raises serious First Amendment concerns. It creates an even more toxic precedent for the future. This is not how America is supposed to work. Yeah. And then despite reports, this is not a limited gag order. The DOJ didn't get everything it asked for, which is the game, but make no mistake, this is a broad, vague order on a bogus case where the main felony could potentially be reversed by the SCOTUS. Chutkan relishes her role in this. So anyway, well, let's talk about some news on this, because we'll start with the Breitbart article. Judge gags Donald Trump from publicly attacking prosecutor. Oh, targeting, not attacking, targeting prosecutor and judge in the January 6th case. Well, they've got their own little problems that you should be able to talk about. U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan sided with prosecutors on Monday to place a gag order on former President Donald Trump in the case related to January 6th. The gag order blocks Trump from the comments, quote, publicly targeting, end quote, the judge, special counsel Jack Smith, and any other court personnel. It's pretty broad. Trump is, quote, absolutely prohibited as well from issuing statements about their families, the Washington Post reporter. Now, I don't know what that's all about. Was he saying some shit about their families? Maybe. Oh, because isn't she married to some big wig Democrat too? I don't know. Anyway, even before the order was issued, Trump lawyer John Lauro said they would appeal any such order as it affects important free speech principles, particularly for a leading candidate for president. Trump, quote, can argue that this prosecution is politically motivated, the judge said, but he cannot disparage the prosecutor by calling him a thug or vilify and implicitly encourage violence against public servants who are simply doing their jobs. Here we go. Here we go again, claiming that he's trying to promote violence, which I don't think so. And then she's also barring Trump and all parties from making statements about witnesses in the case. Now that's going a little too far. I don't know. And, look, the idea that they're going to that Trump is going to favorably taint a jury pool? Yeah, in D.C., I don't think so. In fact, I think this is the next article. Well, here's the Daily Caller version of this. Uncharted territory. Obama-appointed judge gag order on Trump is the first of its kind, legal experts say. Judge Tiny Chutkin's decision to place a gag order on former President Donald Trump is unprecedented. It's a double. What's the word? Is that well, double at times usually is a little bit racy and shit, but that's not it. There's a name for that when you use a word that has two meanings if you say it different ways. Anyway, Chutkin issued a gag order following a hearing Monday restricting Trump's statements about Special Counsel Jack Smith, his staff, witnesses, and court personnel. While less expansive than the order requested by prosecutors, legal experts said it nevertheless is the first gag order to be placed on a presidential candidate and will present problems for the former president on the campaign trail, making a swift appeal likely. Zach Smith, Heritage Founded legal fellow and former assistant U.S. attorney, told the Daily Caller News Foundation, this is a very serious matter. Good morning, Nomad.
Stop. Hammer time.
Not only have we never before had a former president or leading presidential candidate being indicted in 4 different felony cases with 91 counts across those 4 cases, but we've also never, to my knowledge, had a leading presidential candidate who has had a gag order issued against him, basically limiting what he's allowed to say on the campaign trail. Mike Pence, an opponent in the 2024 Republican presidential race, is among witnesses Trump is restricted from speaking about. Chutkin specified that Trump can comment on Pence, just not as it pertains to the case, though Smith notes the case is a major part of the coming election. You talk about it, but you can't talk about it regarding the case. Yeah. Lawyer and former federal prosecutor Bill Shipley suggested on Twitter that it is quite possible the gag order becomes the vehicle that launches Trump's case to the Supreme Court via its emergency docket. There could be 2 avenues, both direct appeal as part of the criminal case and also a civil action seeking an injunction of the order on the basis that it is a violation of his constitutional right as a candidate and part of a campaign. Well, just against his constitutional rights, period. How about that? Catch me outside. How about that? Yes, there is case law that says a defendant in a criminal case can have his First Amendment rights to speak about the case curtailed, he wrote, but there has never been a case involving a candidate for president being put in that position during the course of a campaign. Smith said it's possible that Trump will wait until there is an alleged violation of the gag order to appeal, but he suspects Trump will do so sooner. So, interesting. There's also an article in the Federalist with a little more pointed criticism, saying that this is a banana republic. Now judges decide what Republicans can say while campaigning. That's not exactly what they said, but it is fascinating. I'll leave that article in the links today. Moving on, let's see. In the Free Beacon this morning, this is about a Washington Post columnist who went from shredding abs to shredding Zionist. This Washington Post columnist condemns Israel for defending itself. Now, again, some of you say, there are people out there say Israel is not defending themselves. They're committing war crimes and shit. But let's see what this one is. Less than a week after Hamas unleashed the deadliest attack on the Jewish state, Washington Post weightlifting enthusiast Karen Attiah took a break from her stomach crunches and bicep curls to pen a column condemning Israel for fighting back. The, quote, United States cannot stand by and allow Israel to carry out the collective punishment it has declared it will extract, writes Attiah, flexing her anti-Israel muscles. See what they did there? It cannot stand by as Israel officials engage in genocidal language. And now again, here's that genocidal language again. Remember what the Charter of Hamas says. They want to end all Jews, period. End all of them, not just in Israel, just everywhere. But that genocidal language always seems to be just glossed over. Anyway, and describe genocidal intent against Palestinians. Well, they haven't. First of all, they're not describing genocidal intent, but they certainly don't want that. In fact, they warn people before they bomb. They say, "Hey, we're going to bomb there because we think that's a Hamas target. You need to put yourself in a safe place." And then they bomb it. But Hamas doesn't let people leave, and then they can have the propaganda of dead peoples. And then that Hamas is to blame for storing munitions in hospitals, mosques, and schools, and uses human shields goes unmentioned, like the sweat you forget to wipe off the bench. That's who wrote this. That's just the Washington Free Beacon staff wrote this. That's some shots fired right there. Anyway, then let's see. Who wrote this? I would hope that the only democracy in the Middle East would learn from the United States' mistakes and atrocities and the occupation. There is no occupation. Any sort of occupation of Gaza ended and all the aid that went into Gaza since then, for whatever they don't have to show for it, is not anything to do with Israel. Let's see. Oh, and the occupation oust the walking bag of right-wing corruption that is Prime Minister Netanyahu and call for a ceasefire, says Atia. How fortunate for us that she decided to take a breather from her diatribe against HarperCollins for halting publication of her book on Jamal Khashoggi in order to go after Israel. And why is the only democracy in the Middle East in quotes? It kind of is the only democracy in the Middle East. Well, actually, doesn't Egypt kind of has democracy, I guess. I mean, Egypt's really part of Africa, though. I mean, but it's considered the Middle East. Anyway, oh my gosh, she even said more here. If the sadistic status quo keeps up, the only winners of these cycles of violence will be the weapons dealers, while the rest of us lose our common share. Look, does this... buffering. Buffering, what's going on? Is it back up? What the hell? I still... Okay, it's back. Hit a refresh. Here. Looks like mine's working here. Are we good? Anybody? I did get an error. YouTube not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Am I getting the topic? Am I getting the topic? Death thing, death circle. Everything's good. I mean, I'm not even. I mean, I'm on a wired connection that has 100,000 or whatever, 100 megabits per second. YouTube is confused on which side to take. Okay, hello, Aaron Meredith. So anyway, what's interesting though, the language of a genocide, that one's the one that gets me every single time. Because if Hamas had their way, there would be no such thing as an Israeli. There'd be no such thing as a Jew. And so that's not good. So I also found on Twitter this interesting post on Twitter by someone named Hussein Abdul Hussein. And I just thought I'd read it. I've only read half of it, but I'll read the whole thing here because it's interesting. And again, so there's a lot of left-wing politically Jews who are condemning Israel. And I said the other day, well, there are also some Arab or whatever people defending Israel. And so here's one of those people. Muslim people defending Israel. As Arabs, and again, Hussein Abdul Hussein, as Arabs, our message to the world cannot be restricted to eliciting global sympathy for the children of Gaza. We cannot depict ourselves as helpless children behind whom we hide our failure to control our Hamas thugs who massacred 1,300 non-combatant Israelis. This is a moral failure that the world sees, but that we try to hide behind the, quote, rights of the Palestinian people, end quote, rights that none of us are willing to articulate. Free Palestine can mean anything, from an Arab Palestinian state living in peace next to Jewish Israel to an Arab Palestinian state instead of Jewish Israel. The Arab-Israeli peace to happen, and since Palestine, for Arab-Israeli peace to happen, and since Palestine are either children or Hamas thugs or useless corrupt Mahmoud Silicon Face Abbas, non-Palestinian Arabs should step up to save the Palestinians from themselves and save the region ongoing sorrow. We Arabs have to show the world that we are at peace with the idea of a Jewish state, that we are willing to concede what we believe, rightly or wrongly, is ours, the 1948 territory, that we genuinely want bygones to be bygones without secretly holding grudges and passing them to our children. We must seek a better future for ourselves and our kids, as well as for Israelis and their kids. The Palestinian disaster, Nakba, is not a disaster of land loss or military defeat. It is a disaster of absence of leadership that can articulate the Arab alternative to war and death. We ask the world to stop the Israeli war on Hamas, but what do we offer as an alternative to stopping the war? Just let those Hamas thugs who massacred 13 Israelis get away with their crime because there is a history of dispute? Ask Israel to go back to October 6th, knowing that Hamas can break out of Gaza, the Gaza fence and repeat its massacre any minute? Hamas must go. We Arabs must help get rid of it. And most importantly, we must show that we have a plan for the day after Hamas. Let's learn from the mistake of Iraq and Arab Spring countries that once what we have is gone, what comes next looks worse. Let's preempt the worst by offering the better. As long as we, the Arabs, do not have answers to all of these questions, the world will manage things without us. It does not matter if all of us, 1.3 billion Muslims, think that Israel is at fault. What matters is global perception, which clearly thinks that Islamist terrorism is the problem, not Israelis dancing at a music festival. And we, the Arabs, are not even talking to the world. We are talking to each other, patting ourselves on the back for being utopian and principled on Palestine, while we are in fact idiotically out of touch with reality. We insist that our backward message, then act surprised why many of our states are failing and why we are migrating in droves. Please stop treating Palestinians or Palestine like religion, like we have to stick to our principles to win credit in the afterlife and to garner the social acceptance among each other, Arabs or Muslims. Please think of Palestine like a problem that requires troubleshooting, compromise, pragmatism, and most importantly, looking toward the future, not the past. And of course, immediately following that is someone showing up, a mother who just lost her children, is the response, which he says, thanks for proving my point. So anyway, and some people are saying the UAE is far ahead. Abraham Accords signal change in the tide as the Arab country normalized relationships with Israel without first solving the Palestinian problem, all kinds of things. And that's, look, the Palestinians are still mad about that too. And who are they about to sign some treaty with? Saudi Arabia? No, we'll have none of that shit. All right. Let's move on to Canada. No, I'm not moving to Canada. Although I'd like to go to Canada. I want to drive up to Thunder Bay. There's a beautiful waterfall up there. Very Niagara Falls-esque waterfall in Thunder Bay. And I'd like to go check that out, but we couldn't go there when we went in 2000 because of COVID. But anyway, the Canadian Supreme Court has given Castro's son a blow, and I don't mean anything that didn't come out right, did it? But anyway, the Canadian Supreme Court has ruled that environmental impact legislation is largely unconstitutional. A major blow to the Prime Minister, Mr. Justin Trudeau. and his government and his eco-power grabbing ambitions. So here it is. Last week, this reporter reported on the green energy investment bloodbath that has recently occurred, which is a result of escalating inflation's challenges with supplies of materials and people's desires to have light and power when they need it. Yes, light and power is something that you need. It says, now there's good news about the continuing battle against eco-activist pseudoscience. The Canadian Supreme Court greatly damaged Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government and eco-power grabbing ambitions. And here it is. The Canada's Supreme Court dealt a blow to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government on Friday by ruling that a federal law assessing how major projects such as coal mines and oil sands plants impact the environment is largely unconstitutional. The decision is a victory for Alberta, Canada's main fossil fuel producing province, which challenged the Impact Assessment Act, saying it gave Ottawa too much power to kill natural resource projects. This is a significant setback for the federal government, said David White, a law professor at the University of Calgary. That's okay. The court has said that the federal government can enact environmental assessment legislation, but the way they went about it for the most part, or for most of this law, goes too far. Now, let's see. Someone from What's Up, his name's Charles Rotter, notes how important this decision was. The IAA, which is the, what is it called? The Environmental Assessment Act, or Impact Assessment Act, was a cornerstone of Trudeau's environmental policy, required the comprehensive environmental comprehensive environmental assessments to be conducted before greenlighting major projects, particularly those within industries such as oil, pipelines, and coal mines. The act was seen as a tool to gauge the potential environmental impacts of significant industrial projects, aligning with broader global movements towards sustainable. That word, that's the word sustainable. Let me just stop. When they use the word sustainable, that's kind of like using the word equity around me. I get that same hair standing up on the back of my neck. I'm like, sustainable. You know that something bad's coming if someone's using the word sustainable or equity. Something's going to follow that's terrible, that some stupid policy, right? So anyway, and environmentally conscious development. So they're basically going to find ways to stop energy projects. The court's decision hinged on the argument that the IAA granted the federal government overly broad powers, enabling it to intervene in areas traditionally under provincial control. The majority opinion highlighted concerns regarding the act's vague decision-making mechanisms and the expansive powers it conferred upon the federal government. Gosh, a judge in Canada is kind of doing federalism. Did you catch this? Are you listening? This is crazy. What the hell is going on in Canada? I thought all the Canadian judges were left-wing lunatics too. So anyway, the ruling underscores the complexities and contentious nature of environmental regulation in a federation where jurisdictional boundaries are meticulously delineated. It reflects a judicial inclination towards upholding the sanctity of the constitutional divisions of power, ensuring that the federal government does not unilaterally encroach upon areas reserved for provincial authority. Oh my God. I think I'm getting aroused. Anyway, good on the Supreme Court of Canada. How about you? Give a shout out to the Supreme Court of Canada. Okay, what else do I have here? Oh, apparently some of the migrants that are coming across our border in an illegal manner are figuring out that the long implied invitation by the President of the United States, the current one, not the last one, because they said, we're not going to play with that shit. Well, some of them are becoming disillusioned, apparently, or at least this particular case in the Breitbart realm of the news-making machines. Watch, disillusioned Venezuelan migrant wants to go home outside of San Antonio's non-government welcome center for migrants. Breitbart Texas interviewer Luis Gomez, a Venezuelan migrant who says he just wants to go home. Oh, Hundreds of migrants moved along the Alamo City's San Pedro Avenue on a brisk Saturday morning, hoping to leave the city for other parts of the United States. And a sign that resources available to the migrants may be dwindling, Gomez has now become disillusioned with the American dream. Well, you didn't try the American dream. You tried to cheat. That might be the problem. Anyway, Gomez, like other migrants, that Breitbart, Texas spoke with, is being told he must leave the shelter or face eviction. Good! Venezuelan migrants who cannot fund their transportation away from the city or have no relatives or sponsors in the United States willing to fund their travel expenses could be seen walking aimlessly on the streets surrounding the shelter. Some were observed loitering in parking lots, hoping to perform day labor service to assist in funding their departure. I'd just say start walking. You walked here, walk back. Anyway, that's mean. But it's true. Anyway, Gomez told Breitbart Texas that what he found thus far is not what he expected. What did you expect? With no money or prospect for finding work, he depends on the shelter to provide food and a roof over his head, and that may be ending soon, Gomez says. Good. Gomez explained that he and many other Venezuelans come to the United States for economic reasons. Oh, really? I thought you were here because you needed amnesty from something. I thought you were asylum seekers. Wait a minute. You just came here so you could make some money? Well, that's not how it works. Where's the Geico old lady with the chalkboard? Or whatever she was writing on. She was writing on something. Anyway, let's see. And as to whether he made a deliberate declaration of asylum or claimed a credible fear when apprehended, Gomez says immigration authorities at the border never asked. Excuse me. Are they told not to ask? Gomez's statements to Breitbart Texas reveal the number of crossings and the limited capacity to return migrants from Venezuela might be forcing CBP to release migrants regardless of whether a claim of fear is presented or not, despite a recent plan announced by CBP to return Venezuelan migrants to their home country. Little evidence could be seen at the San Antonio shelter as buses of migrants from the border, mostly Venezuelan nationals, arrived on Saturday. Here's when asked what his message to others in Venezuela hoping to make the journey to the United States, Gomez says, if you have someone to receive you, come. If not, don't come. It's hard. Oh, it's hard. So anyway, he finds himself in a difficult predicament, facing a removal hearing in 2025. In 2025? Oh, good Lord. No wonder he's thinking about going home. If he can't get a job, and he can't get food, and he can't... How did they... Okay, he came here from Venezuela. How did he sustain himself on that long walk from Venice fucking Wela to here? I don't understand. Now this is interesting. As sanctuary cities across the country struggle to cope with the constant arrival of migrants, resources dedicated to accommodating their needs have strained city budgets. As reported by Breitbart, New York City Mayor Eric Adams recently visited Mexico, Colombia, and Ecuador to encourage migrants to avoid his city. City officials in Denver have embarked on a campaign to distribute flyers to migrants in Texas, discouraging them from heading to that sanctuary city as well. The flyers tell migrants the city is out of resources to assist them and affordable housing is not available. And despite the warnings, people are still coming. Oh my God. It's amazing. Where are all these people who think that they should just keep coming? Where are they? Where are the people? Where are the people offering their homes? Come on down. Stay with us. We'll let you hang out here until you get on your feet, and until we get a hearing, and we'll feed you and clothe. Where are all those people that think it's a bad idea to finish the wall? Where you at? Why aren't you doing something? All right, moving on. We already mentioned Jim Jordan, Speaker of the House thing. Here's a Breitbart article. House Republicans rally behind Jordan for House Speaker. Looks like here's the lawmakers that have publicly supported Jordan. There's a list of about 132. Now, look, I think oh boy, this could happen. If there are people in the House of Representatives on the Republican side who have any sort of grudge with Jim Jordan, they could return the speakership to a Democrat. Now, here's the thing that won't allow that to happen, though. Because in the House rules, when you got to run for the majority leader of the House, you have to get a majority of the votes in the House to become the majority leader. So even if some of the Republicans refuse to vote for Jim Jordan, the only way that Hakeem Jeffries could become Speaker of the House is if, I think, 6 or 7 or 8 Republicans vote for him. Like he'd have to have some Republicans vote for the Democrat. And what has happened, like the last time when they were trying to get McCarthy, okay, the whatever you call them, Freedom Caucus, the MAGA Republicans, whatever, they did not vote for the Democrat. They just voted for a different Republican every time. And so until there's a majority in the House that votes for a candidate for Speaker of the House, there will be no Speaker of the House. So there you go. If you want to read the rest of that, I don't care. You can do that. Moving on. Where am I at here? I'm out of time. Well, I'm still going to do a couple. Oh, now remember there was a conservative backlash over these RNC presidential candidate debates, which are kind of useless anyway because Donald Trump's not in them. But because they had this backlash, because the last one was just a disaster. One, nobody gave a shit to watch it. And number two, the moderators were obviously just only asking Democrat questions about a Republican primary. And so it just turned into kind of a shit show, kind of those where the moderators are basically arguing against Republicans about what they want to talk about. Well, after that backlash, the RNC, the Republican National Committee, has decided to make a change, and they're going to give the third debate to NBC News. Yes, NBC News will be doing the third Republican debate. Because the Univision, remember, because Fox did theirs, and they had the Univision woman there, and all she wanted to talk about is, kids in cages or some shit. Anyway, after prominent conservative media hosts critiqued the second GOP primary presidential debate as inappropriate and boring, NBC News announced that it will host the third debate on November 8th in Miami. Now, what's beautiful? Oh, wait a minute. The debate will be streamed on all NBC News platforms, and the Republican National Committee is partnering with Rumble to broadcast the debate, according to NBC News. The RNC chose Salem Radio Network and the Republican Jewish Coalition, a national organization that works to unite the Jewish community with Republican lawmakers, as the debate partners. NBC News has a history of... No, this has got to be NBC News saying this. NBC News has a history of producing substantive and thoughtful debates. And the network looks forward to asking questions that are on the minds of Republican voters. Carrie Brown Budoff, whatever Brown something, NBC News senior vice president of politics says. Yeah, that was the problem. The people in the last debate were asking, asking questions that were on the minds of Democrat voters, not Republican voters. So we'll see. But here's the problem. Okay, and I'll show you. It's on the next thing here. So they got NBC to do the next debate, but guess who's going to be one of the moderators? None other than John fucking Harwood. Okay, if you don't know who John Harwood is, he's basically he's kind of I would say he's a spokesperson for the Democrats on, I can't even remember what network he's on. NBC still? Oh, he must be if he's going to be there. Anyway, now, while moderators for next month's debate have yet to be announced, it's baffling. Now, I heard they already had John Harwood. It's baffling why the RNC picked NBC News, a far-left outlet, to be a co-host for the November event. Contrary to the latter half of its name, NBC News has engaged in the political activism on behalf of Democrats for years. Just this summer, the so-called news organization got busted running interference for the LGBT demonstrators who were caught chanting, "We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children," in an attempt to downplay the threatening chant. NBC News published an article and accompanying tweet basically claiming the phrase has been used for years at Pride events and repeating accusations from LGBT activists that right-wingers were using the incident to further stigmatize the queer community. See, that's how they twist things. They've got everything to be, to have the left-wing voice and yada, yada. Still, the chance that John Harwood could be a moderator, that's hilarious. All right. We'll just do some quick lightning round now. Anti-Israel Democrats face campaign finance woes and primary challenges. Oh, so sad. The squad, which boasts some of the most anti-Israel members in Congress, is facing a cash crunch heading into the 2024 election cycle, according to the Washington Free Beacon Review. Look, let's just say, and I'm not saying this as a slight, I think this is a strength of the people who are being disparaged by the people like the squad. They have a very strong lobby, so to speak, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm being conspiratorial because I think it's a good thing, not a bad thing. But you start fucking with people that have a lot of power, and they're going to start fucking with your money, right? And so the fact that they're having a hard time fundraising, Also, in PJ Media, you got to kind of watch this. Vivek Ramaswamy dominates Sean Hannity in an interview. This is why Don Lemon was trending the other day. Was it yesterday? Or maybe it was Friday. Because this interview, Sean Hannity showed that he's not the brightest bulb in the tree. The hackiest of hacks all time, Sean Hannity had Vivek Ramaswamy on a show to berate him for not going along mindlessly with forever wars like a good Republican's supposed to. This is a red line for Hannity, who cares deeply about sending other people's children, using other people's money to die in pointless wars in perpetuity. So here's something with how the Hill puts it. Republican candidate Vivek Ramaswamy and Fox News host Sean Hannity traded barbs during an appearance the GOP hopeful made on the nightly program Thursday. During a heated exchange, Hannity pressed Ramaswamy about a number of statements he has made on the campaign trail, particularly as it relates to foreign policy and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, one of the 2024 rivals. Why would you call Nikki Haley corrupt? Hannity asked. If you're making money off your time in government, then I don't think you're fit to be president of the United States, Ramaswamy said. A lot of people don't think you're qualified because you weren't even a Republican or voting Republican until, 2020, Hannity replied. Well, Sean, it depends on what your objectives are with this interview, retorted. I voted Libertarian in my first election. I voted Republican in 2020. You're right, I'm not a partisan hack. I came from the outside, and I'm an independent-minded patriot who speaks the truth. So, Sean Hannity attempted to do shots fired, and unfortunately, the ricochet hit him in his ass. So, let's see. Let me see what this says. Let's see.
Where if your campaign is principally being run by super PACs, people who can give unlimited amounts of money to your campaign, I don't think that befits the Republican. We need to be better than that. So, Sean, you and I may have a different view on that. But my view is, if you're making money off your time in government, then I don't think you're fit to be president of the United States. Well, more importantly, though, what's our policy? Stand with our allies while avoiding World War III, and that's where I'm at.
A lot of people don't think you're qualified because you weren't even a Republican or voting Republican until 2020?
Ooh, somebody, whoa! Did you hear that? Do you hear somebody in the background yell, "That's right"? Wait, listen to this again.
Where I'm at.
A lot of people don't think you're qualified because you weren't even a Republican or voting Republican until 2020?
Well, Sean, I think that what your objectives with this interview are. I voted Libertarian in my first election. I voted Republican in 2020. You're right. I'm not a partisan hack. I come in from the outside.
Forgive you for your
I'm an independent-minded patriot who speaks the truth.
It sounds to me like you just want to jump from the private sector yourself, where you made a lot of money. By the way, I applaud capitalism. I applaud successful people.
Sean, I applaud you for being so transparent about your objectives.
I actually think that people work in the defense of our country, in the defense industry,
somebody in the background's
are playing
talking.
a vital role for the cause of freedom. So I don't really call it a corrupting influence or suggest that somehow that's a corrupting influence. I actually like the experience that goes along with working for defense contractors. But I've got to listen.
One of the things I loved about that interview with Tucker, was we were actually able to have a thoughtful conversation and go deep into issues rather than this kind of political gotcha.
The point is this:
Good.
You
go
on these interviews. Yeah, I have nothing but nice things to say. But here's your problem:
people should
you
watch
go on these shows, people quote your exact words, and you deny your own words. And I'm saying, if you're going to be a presidential candidate, and you're going to
What's really wild is there's someone in the background. I don't know if they must be in Sean's studio that is yelling in the background that they don't have the mics, they don't have they must have like a boom mic instead of a shotgun mic, and I could hear it in the backgrounds. But anyway, I'm not a fan of Sean Hannity. I've always thought he was a little hacky for my taste and for most people's taste. Anyway, let me just get rid of the rest of the headlines and we're going to get out of here. That'll be in the links today. In Daily Wire, Super PAC backing Tim Scott is canceling $1 million of TV ads, which means that his campaign clearly is flailing, which kind of never existed, but I still like Tim Scott. Apparently there's an Ohio Democrat in the senator that seems vulnerable. And I don't know why they have a picture of Joe Biden eating dessert in this, but 2024 Senate map offers a promising chance for the Republican Party to reclaim control of the U.S. Senate. Democrats have to defend 20 seats next November, while Republicans have to defend just 11. It's a more favorable map for the GOP than in 2022, raising the potential for the party to secure a comfortable margin in the Senate. Democrats got to defend 20 seats. And with Joe Biden as your president and probably presidential candidate. Yeah. So Joe Manchin's in trouble. Jim Justice. Who's Jim Justice? Oh, Republican candidate with a comfortable lead. Polls show that Senator John Tester in Montana is also vulnerable. And Sherrod Brown in Ohio. So it just goes through the Senate map there a little bit. You can check that out. Here we go. Biden says U.S. has an obligation to be involved in wars in Ukraine and Israel. That's that 60 Minutes interview we saw it the other day. He mumbled his way through that. Apparently, remember those Jewish space lasers? Well, PJ Media Slack channel lit up over the weekend with Twitter images of what purported to be Israel's Iron Beam defense system in action, shooting down at least 2 incoming projectiles. But when it finally got around to checking Slack on Saturday night, every single tweet featuring the Iron Beam had been deleted. Apparently, they have some kind of laser technology that's taken down some of these rockets. And so maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene wasn't so far off after all. Article in PJ Media. Also, over 70 families say they lost children to false Munchausen by proxy allegations levied by a single doctor. Now, in Pennsylvania, people are pissed because a child abuse pediatrician fired from the Lehigh Valley Health Network and hopefully brought up in criminal charges. Apparently, the families allege that Dr. Jensen diagnosed all of them with the controversial Munchausen syndrome by proxy and accused them of child abuse when they brought their children to LVHN for various reasons. And so the county services are starting to take some of these kids, and these parents are like, what? What the fuck? And so hopefully this woman will be prosecuted. It's a really sad story. There's also a news video on this one. In the Daily Caller, there's a comet coming, hurling its way towards Earth. Please put us out of our misery. With volcanic horns, okay? It's a comet with volcanic horns, and it's exploded a couple times, so we don't know if anything's we're gonna get some shrapnel or something. A city-sized comet barreling towards Earth grew horns after a second massive volcanic eruption occurred on October 5th. The cryovolcanic comet, called J.P. Pons Brooks, will make its closest approach to Earth in 2024, and the enormous space rock, some 18.6 miles in diameter, just violently exploded for a second time in 4 months. Now, in theory, it has no chance of hitting us. But if it keeps exploding, who knows? We might get some shrapnel. I doubt it. But anyway, in PJ Media, star of Disney's popular Rogue One is ranting against Israel, calls Gaza bombing war crimes. So if you want to hear about that, it's in PJ Media. In Hollywood. Oh, and also some of Hollywood bigwigs dropped the hammer on Writers Guild about Writer Guild's silence about Hamas. Now, isn't the Writers Guild on strike still? Hollywood has a well-earned reputation for being filled to the brim with progressive ideology, which is a fancy word to refer to the teachings of Karl Marx. In other words, it's like a dolloping a Cool Whip on a pile of garbage. Yes, the powers that be in the entertainment industry have, like mainstream media, become puppets used by radical left-wingers to help promote propaganda that brainwashes those of us who are critical thinkers into adopting their morally corrupt, bankrupt view of the world. So apparently, let's see, a lot of celebrities have come out against on support of the Palestinians in light of Hamas's terrorist attack against Israel. And fortunately, not everyone in Hollywood is all that soulless, as evidenced by a group of popular writers like comedian Jerry Seinfeld, horror master Eli Roth, Sacha Baron Cohen, Genji Kohan, and who came out against their own union for staying silent about the attacks on the Jewish nation. So there's a little bit of back and forth in Hollywood. I don't even want to write the joke. I don't want to tell the joke, but the powers versus the powers that be versus, I don't know. I'm not going there. I'm not telling the joke. It's because it's inappropriate and I just don't care. But on the other hand, voice actor Tara Strong says she lost animation job after strong support of Israel and condemnation of Hamas. So it's kind of, they're struggling in Hollywood with this because it's like Ryan Long said, you don't know which side you should come out on or for or against because everything's, you don't know which one, you could be for Hamas and then you get in trouble with some, and then you get be for Israel and you could be in trouble with others. You might lose your job or you might get a promotion. You don't know what to do. So that little skit the other day that I showed you of Ryan Long not knowing which side to be in favor of overtime today. Did this thing ever work? It looks like it has an excellent connection now. Look, I want to thank you for joining me today. Share the stream after the show. Bring a friend next time. That'll make the more the merrier. Please, also, I'm going to be putting out little promotional videos for this channel. And also, don't forget my other projects, the Marty's Big Journey over on YouTube and also on Instagram. There's P-Dog Night channel on Instagram. There's my social media post at the app formerly known as Twitter, and so on and so forth. So if you haven't hit those links, I think I have the links in the description of this particular thingy babob. And that's it for the day. Thank you, people. Gotta go. No sponsor of the day. There are no sponsors today. That's okay. Maybe next time. Gotta go. My name's P-Dog Night, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Hey, this is P-Dog Night, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Night channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Night, and I'm out of here.